Okay, folks, happy Sunday morning. Wee hours of Sunday morning. I don't know, it's 6 a.m. It's still dark as shit. This is going to be kind of a continuation of yesterday's show. I had to stop yesterday a little bit earlier than I would have wanted to because there's still a couple of things that I wanted to accomplish and I didn't get a chance to accomplish while I was out here. Well, we don't need the super readers off. We got the contacts off, so we'll see how we get on with that. I don't want this coffee here. That's probably a terrible location for it. Let's move it over there. All right, so we did a couple things with the airbrush. Used this magic formula, and it's still to be continued. I don't want to really promote that and then find out that there's a hidden something that's not working as planned. But I did want to bring a couple of other things out here. I wanted to try some of the winter camouflage before I do it on the Soviets. I do want to try that on something that if I'm not really happy with how it turns out, I'm okay with. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and reassemble the airbrush, which should be pretty clean. And assuming this thing will work, because it took a fall at the end of the show yesterday and landed right on the end and bent. I mean, this must be made out of like the thinnest material ever, but it's catching a little bit, but I think it'll be all right. Worst case scenario, I have to replace this part, but I'm telling you, I'm pretty careful. But you need to be extra careful. You need to have like somebody like have a gun on you at all times. Make sure you don't make the wrong move when you're messing with some of these parts because yeah, it's super stiff here in the back. So I think it'll be okay. As long as everything else is clean. Let's just do a check. That's clean. I was reading before I got an airbrush, like, yeah, you got to be careful. You bend the needle. I'm like, man, what kind of a klutz are you? I'm like, it takes nothing. This stuff is made out of material that is so thin and fine, and if you make one goof up, yeah, that part's okay. I think we'll be all right. Okay. So the first thing we're gonna do is we'll see how loud it is. We'll see if we wake up the missus. It seems like everything around this house is near the bedroom. The other part of the house, like nothing happens over there. My daughter's bedroom's over there. The guest bedroom is. I could like have a freaking rave out there and nobody would hear anything. But anything that's near the bedroom, she that must not be awakened. Nah, she's cool and everything. Just needs to sleep. Okay. Nightmare, welcome. All right, so we're going to try this again, and we're going to fire this thing up. And again, we got the 0.35 needle. So basically, what we did yesterday is I was surfing around, and let me turn this off while I'm talking. I was surfing around, and I found on one of the airbrush forums that this guy said, "Hey, there's this formula that I've used, and I can use it to thin everything." And it even thins the primers. It even thins regular paint, all acrylic paint, and basically has no tip dry. And thank you for the sub, man. And that's one of the things that's really annoying. Like I'm a really experienced painter. I'm having a lot of issues that make the airbrushing experience less than fun. Let's put it that way. It's not a problem. I've done some things that have turned out okay. But it shouldn't be this challenging for me. So I saw this. I'm like, well, let's give this a try, right? And it's a mixture of different things: airbrush, flow improver, and some thinner, and some retarder. And I'll be damned if it didn't work freaking great. And we're going to try that again today and make sure that that's still the case. So let's fire this up. and I'll give this guy complete credit because you know it's his thing. And when you're looking for airbrush things, it's a pain in the ass because everybody's got an opinion, and lots of people are like really quick to give their opinion, and they don't really know what the hell they're talking about. And I'm not one of those people. I freely admit, well, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, or I'm not an expert on this. There's some things I know really well, and there's a lot of stuff I don't. And like even buying an airbrush, you'll get a million different opinions. And I kind of had to sift through all the nonsense on my own and figure it out. I'm new here. What is your channel about? I paint miniatures. I paint tanks. I paint stuff like this. I usually hand paint them. Here's got some Soviet tanks. Paint figures. I used to talk a lot about figures. That's why my channel is called Figuratively Speaking. So we're going to dial this down. This is way too high. This is about 40 psi. And I dabble in some airbrushing for the same thing. We're actually going to dial this to about 15 psi. Okay, that's pretty darn low. And we're going to experiment on these Shermans. Now, these Shermans look like crap, and not because they're Shermans. The casting of them is just really. Let's see if I can get a. They're like. They've got potholes and resin and stuff like that on them. This is all almost one piece. Got the side tracks are each one. They were originally this color. These actually are olive drab, and they have a brown wash on them, which is what I normally do. So I'm using this little stick. This stuff is great. It's basically white tack. They call it also blue tack. And you can like put posters and stuff on the wall. It's not permanent, and it's really good to attach things that you want to remove later. So we're going to push this down, and then it'll hold it in place. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing with a 76 millimeter armed Sherman. Where's another one of bottle caps? I never used bottle caps until recently, and I'm like, these things are really handy because I don't have so many alligator clips. Sherman was the best tank of World War II. So that's not something that's not a comment that most people say. I don't know what the best tank of World War II is. Sherman was certainly not a piece of shit. Okay. If you play the Sherman in games and stuff, sometimes like, those aren't very good. Well, when they came out, it was like the best tank when it came out. In North Africa, it's an incredible tank. The problem is they didn't increase the firepower of it exponentially in at least the U.S. Sherman, like other tanks did theirs. And what it allowed is for the Sherman just to be produced, and you never lost track of that. Now the Sherman from the get-go, in my opinion, is better than a lot of tanks and a lot of things. And one of them is just reliability. The engines, people don't know this, but tank engines have to be replaced from time to time. If you talk about the German invasion of Russia and the amount of miles that a German engine will run, if the Russians put up no defenses on the border and the Germans wanted to drive to Moscow, the German tank would have to have its engine replaced before it even got to Moscow, miles wise. It can't go more than like 300 miles and it has to have the engine replaced. And lots of tanks are that way. The Russian tanks are that way. They weren't expected to last that long. They're under a lot of strain, and then you have battle conditions on top of that. So that the American engines were the most reliable. What happened to American engines? Now there's no way I'd have an American engine now in a car. What made me a YouTuber? Just wanted to share this with other people. Video games don't take into account reliability and maintainability. They don't. And the worst thing about a Sherman, okay, from a wargaming standpoint of painting miniatures, painting models, is that people think that they're boring, and they are, in the standpoint that, you know, they're generally painted one color. The markings on them are not anything exciting like the Germans do, or even the British. The British have really colorful armored decals on their units. The American ones are like, oh, 4th Armored Division, okay, that's a 4 with a triangle and then a serial number behind it. But they do have nicknames, so you get to nickname all of them, so that's a plus. And because they're boring, you could make 4 or 5 of them and add a bunch of accoutrement on them and make them all look different and give them personality. So I personally don't dislike Shermans. I don't really dislike anybody's tanks, even T-34s. I got a couple of T-34s here that are the latest model of the T-34 76, and these two, along with the Su-85, are going to be winterized, and I'm going to use them for late 43, early 44 Corson pocket type of stuff. So, but we're going to experiment on the ones that are a piece of crap first. And they're not a piece of crap because they're Shermans, they're a piece of crap because they're just crappy models. But I think they're still going to turn out great. But, hey, Tony, you're absolute, you keep it up. Joe Caggiano. Makes Shermans look cool, just check out Fury. Yep. I saw that in movie theater. I liked it. And then I tried to rewatch it with my daughter, and we hated it. And it's not the special effects. Special effects. We just didn't give a shit about the people. There is terrible character choices, but all right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this miracle mix. We're gonna have to come up with a name for it, even though the guy's gonna get full credit. His last name is Abbas. I don't know where he's from. Maybe he's originally from the Middle East. His country of origin is the Middle East. I learned that from one of you guys when I went to Spain. It's like, how did it go on your country of origin? I said, yeah, I'm not from Spain, but my great-grandfather was. So his country of origin was somebody from the Middle East. It doesn't matter. He is a fucking genius as far as I'm concerned. And we're going to try this with straight Vallejo paint. Now, he suggests like a 50-50 mix. This is German Camo black-brown. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to spray the bottom of this like it's muddied, okay? And I actually had not done this level of stuff with this. So, oh shit, it drips. All right, well then we have to eye it. Okay, I'm going to do about half of it with the other one, with this. And we did this yesterday, and it worked incredible. These little stirs, just stir it right in here. All right, and we're running really low PSI. And we did this with a primer, and the primer didn't jam. I didn't even get any chip dry with a primer. Okay, and we did this, which is the best airbrushing job I've ever done. It can still be improved. I'm still in my infancy, even though I've been airbrushing for a couple of years now, but with this mixture. There it is. There's that thin line. And not going to be very noticeable. But basically we want the bottom half of this tank to look different than the top half. And we may have to do this after we do the white. Like I said, this is just experiment. I'm not afraid of trying stuff live with you guys that I've never done before. Hey, keep it down over there. I'm using so little amount of paint. So I don't even know if it's that noticeable. Let me do a little bit on the Panther and see how that turns out. This is a destroyed Panther, by the way. I tried to take pictures of this thing. This thing looked like melted ass, okay? Oh, good morning, Marcus. You should turn that other junk Sherman into a wreck too. You need scatter terrain for, yes, for face of battle. All right, let's see how we do with this. This airbrush mix is fucking amazing. Now, I don't know why there's little bubbles forming in there. It's not bubbling yet, so just something to keep an eye on. We're probably going to, when we turn this into a wreck, we're probably going to use this with some black and smoke some stuff up. And I've never done that before, but we're going to need to because this thing caught fire or something. Be the thing where I can finally say, hey, I don't suck at airbrushing anymore. I mean, like every time I paint something, I feel like it's as good as the last thing I did, or it's a little bit better. Constantly, it's a constant improvement. It's either straight or it's a constant improvement. With airbrushing, I'm like, man, this is great. And the next thing I do sucks. Not sucks, but it's a lot more work than it should be. And it's just the nature of the airbrush just being another huge variable. And this mixture seems to be, well, we're going to give this guy complete credit if this thing works out. As I heard one time, says, we're gonna make an award. We're gonna give you an award named after you. This, by the way, is the SS Camo Black. When you run 50% thinner through it, it ends up being a lot lighter color than you're normally used to. And of course, so far, and this is going to be on a stand, by the way, for sure. We're still going to paint the track and weather the track and all that shit. But looking pretty good. Okay, that's this Sherman. Where's the other Sherman? Think I should turn these other Shermans into wrecks? I might. They've got enough little potholes and stuff that they almost need like standing snow on it. And that would fill that up, because I don't want to fill that in. I mean, there's so many to fill in that it'd be like restoring like the Mona Lisa or something like that if I spent that kind of time doing that. Man, this paint goes a long way. I'm also running this at like 15 PSI, which is really, really low. Vallejo paint through 15 PSI. I was able to do the thinner, the primer through really low as well. wait till I get to the white here. Washable white, I should say. Anything else? Anything else? I'm not going to do the Soviet stuff yet because I'm not sure that I wouldn't want to do this after I do the white. So we're kind of experimenting with these guys. So even though I've got some in here, I'm going to go ahead and pour this out. Now the fact that I thin this 50% means it should be easier to get out, and that's not yet. So let's use a little bit of this, the Jesus juice. And Jugo de Jesus. Hey, not my name. I would have come up with something a little bit more, well, not religious for one. Jugo sounds like it's thicker than juice, even though it's the Spanish name for juice. Jugo just sounds like something that's got more pulp in it. All right. And I still haven't clear coated the pens with 38s. They're down there. I got so excited about doing this. Ooh. Let me backblast this. That's what the one guy recommended to do this. And at the end of this session yesterday, I dropped the airbrush and it landed right on the back, and it bent the hell out of this thing in the back. And I'm like, fuck, now I got to replace that piece. And that's not a place I can get at the store. But I was able to bend it back. It was even in the holder. It fell out. I was being rushed to stop. Because I had like 2 hours to airbrush. And the next thing you know, it was like, whoop, time gone. What I hate about working on this hobby is that time flies way too fast. Okay, now what you guys have been waiting for. Not really. I don't know what you guys have been waiting for, but the washable white, which I'm not really big on washing it. Yeah, it can be washed, but that's not really the selling point for me. If it was regular white paint, it'd work. I'd be just as happy with it. And we're still gonna this is paint, so we're gonna thin this 50-50. And this should be a little bit better. One, 2, 3, 4. And then same thing with a float with this magic formula. 1, 2, 3, 4. 50-50. That's what this guy says. It's his magic show. I'll have to come up with a trendy name for it, though. That part I will do. The guy's last name is Abbas. So I'll be at the Abbas effect or something. So far, he knows what the fuck he's talking about. He's almost as much of a genius as I am with the hand sanitizer. All right. And no tip dry. It's a really hard habit to break. Sit there and go, hey, let me get this tip dry off. Nope, there's no tip dry with this. It's freaking insane. Let's make sure we have the full white coming through. Not any vestiges of the brown that was there before. All right, we're good. All right, let me sit down because this is going to take a little bit of time. And actually, I think I didn't fuck up my neck, but I was uncomfortable. I had to take some Advil after the session yesterday because I was in a position that I'm normally not in. Let me get a sip of coffee, then we'll put this thing away. Out here in the garage studio. Right? It's a studio, right? Because I'm an artist. All right. Which Sherman? Let's do the 75 Sherman first. Which one's that? Oh, the hull is the same? Oh, that's you cheap piece of shit. The hull is exactly the same. So that's the problem with, you've got all these extra stuff on here. I got these like out of a grab bag that was just kind of like, hey, give me $20 and you have all this junk. And they have all this extra stuff on there, right? And that's great, but they're exactly the same in both tanks. So even though one's a Sherman, one's an M4A3 75 and the other one's an M4A3 76. So that's definitely going to put snow or something on it. So you can cover some of this stuff up that is not there. All right, we got our glasses off. All right. So we're going to do kind of a light dusting here. So I can step away from it. I don't think it needs more than this. I think that's plenty. And then we should be able to rub some of this stuff off on the corners and stuff like that. I don't think it needs more than that. You know, I don't want one of these showroom like white vehicles that has, you know, all kinds of shit. Now, I have a King Tiger in here. Then I'm probably going to 3-color it. And I'm probably going to do a light, it's probably almost like this. You know, shit, I got half a mind to put a little bit of snow like it's, and then I can experiment on that too. You guys want me to do that? You guys want me to experiment a little bit on the snow on here? Really, I mean, less than this. like probably a quarter of what's on here. Um, Good morning. I had a tarp over one of them. No kidding. Did you ever get a chance to try out the cheesecloth? I did not. No. You would have known. I would have done it on here. I don't like doing stuff on my own without a chaperone. I need to be supervised. This is that junk panther. Looks pretty fucking. Now I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, maybe I should have made it a live panther. But then I have to buy a barrel. But I have a king tiger that is like this. That I'm probably going to do for like bulge or something like that. And that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to do this. Now let's see if we'll call this one the M4. We'll call this one the 75 one, and we'll do the 75. A comparable snow on it as well. Let's get rid of the damn glasses. Just create a lot of glare and stuff. Now, do we have any tip dry? A bit. I didn't get any tip dry yesterday. But I've got some winter infantry thanks to Marcus. Make sure you're in there correctly. Don't be falling on the ground. That looks pretty good. That looks, I'm pretty happy with that. And you know, I could probably do something similar hand painting this. You know, I'm really comfortable with my hand painting skills. So, did you get a chance? Sometimes I miss the films. Sometimes you miss the films. Yeah. Well, you could just watch them like Jeffrey does. Jeffrey watches other things. I'm like, how the hell did Jeffrey comment this? I go, oh my God, you watched something that was a while ago. I don't blame him because I'd probably watch, if I wasn't making my own content, I'd probably watch something like this. Especially if, like, you know, if you do your own stunts and things go sideways like they do. Now, let me see. Do I like how this looks with the mud on the bottom? I kind of do. I think I'm going to do the Soviet ones too. I don't need to. Because the other thing is like, okay, do this to the entire vehicle, right? And then do all the washings and things that I do to it. And then come back and then add the mud to it. And I'm like, does it really fucking matter? I mean, you know, not really. So we're going to roll into the Soviets as well, which is where I really wanted to paint this morning. Currently watching 2 live streams. Won't be a problem next week when clocks go forward here. At the same time, holy picture-in-picture Batman. So I don't mind doing live streams at all. I like it. I mean, it keeps me on task. What I don't want to do is make a video that, okay, not only, so I have to make a video while nobody's watching me. So I have to stay on track that way. And then I get rewarded by having to do a lot of heavy fucking editing. I'm like, no, that's going to keep me from getting things done. There's this video, there's this guy that does videos not related to hobby that my wife really likes, and it's really fast paced, and he has a lot of energy, and they're really short, but it's excruciatingly heavily edited. And I told Sandra, I said, man, I could do that with my painting things, but I'd be painting for an hour and like editing videos for 20, and I'm like, I'm not a video editing guy. Like I don't find that rewarding. Because as soon as I film something, I have like this inner ADHD that I want everybody to see it. And I can't. I'm like, I can't show anybody because it's not ready yet. And even though I don't have ADHD or ADD or any of that stuff, but it just invokes that kind of like, okay, the video's out. I want to show it to people. I want to show it to people. I want to show it to people. Because I've seen it because I was fucking there. All right, let's look at this. Shermansky. That would be a Soviet Sherman, a Shermansky. Now, we don't have any black lining or anything on this. This is a piece of shit model, but I think that if I cover it with the tarp, little bit of snow and stuff on here, I think it'll be serviceable. I don't think I even need to make them knocked out. I mean, I think I can use them for legitimate vehicles. They don't look that bad. They don't look that bad. All right. Take a sip of coffee. Also watching Annie at Bad Squigdo Games live Sunday morning coffee. She cute? Who's that one guy? Oh, that one girl that is on that show with a guy. She's pretty cute. She's got an accent. I can't understand what the hell she's saying, but I'm like, that's nice, but if it's a content, it's fantasy stuff, so I'm not really interested in that. Squig dudes, that those guys that those little poker guys with the goblin guys with a big they poke those little, what are those things called? I don't know what the Warhammer lore is. Those little bouncing balls of teeth, and they're like the little poker. Something like that. That'd be the only reason I play that shit, is just to make ridiculous sounds like that. Give yourself a condition with all the noises that you're making. What's wrong with him? He's going all day long. I thought he plays too much fucking fantasy. He'll be cured once he gets out of mom's basement. All right, did I leave a Coke out here? I did. Literally one Coke. La Coca. Coca Loca. Squigs. Squigs would be like, if they spoke, it'd be like a good combination with like Jar Jar Binks. Lisa, poke your ass. Pokey, pokey. All right, back to the 1940s. So the objective with these snow things is to have to use red writing. Okay? I got too many Russian vehicles that have white writing on them. White. They're quite white. And we want to have enough snow camouflage on the turret specifically, so that we have to do writing in red. Okay. All right. So these two are both Eschi T34 Model 43s that when I got them a while ago, I got them by accident. I did not want the ones with the freaking cupola because, like, dude, I need the ones for Kursk before we need the post-Kursk ones. And these guys probably didn't start seeing action until August, September 1943. And it's the latest version of the T-34. I got two of these, and the bottom track on one of them is so messed up I can't use it. It's an Eschi track. It's a rubber band track. And way back when, like, it was really loose. And I read somewhere, hey, if you put it in hot water, that fucked it up because it just totally, like, it warped it. Instead of it being like straight, it was like warped at an angle and it shortened it. And I can't use it at all. So I'm like, well, I'll never build these things. And I did strong arm and build this one with the track, which is crap. And I had a bottom of a Eastern Express, which was I think it's Russian. I got it right after the fall of the Soviet Union. And they were coming out, or it's AER, one of those two. AER Moldova, that's what it is. AER, Eastern Express are all, I think they share molds or something like that. And I had a 234-85 that I wanted that got damaged. Like, I can't salvage it. It's got paint on it. It's super thick, and I tried to get it off, and it just made a mess. So I had the bottom hole. I had the bottom of this bottom section of that one that I put on the top section of the Eschi. So everything is Eschi on this one, and everything is Eschi on this one except the running gear in the bottom part. So this is actually not separate link track. It's sectional track, and this one is rubber band track. So they look slightly different that way, and I guess the running gear looks similar. But they're both going to be figuring a really late 43 or early 44. So you're talking about, those Dnieper battle things, or Korsun Pocket, or something like that. I'll be careful I don't do too much Korsun Pocket, or I'll be tempted to get some of those Panther Ds and do them for Kampfgruppe Beka. I want to call it Baka, but umlaut on the A is a long A sound, so it's Beka. Are you the Beka? A Russian guy with binoculars, like, is that the Miller that's coming? No, I am the Beka. All right, let's try it with the one that's the shittiest first. Now, this has been sitting for a little bit. Normally, I would freak out and be like, man, is this going to work very well? It will. So I'm going to go in and we're going to do the white first. And then we'll go in and do the brown. Man, these turrets don't weigh anything. The worst thing about these Eschi T34s, I don't know why they did this. If you've ever built this model, I'm pretty sure it's consistent to any of the 76mm T34s. They make you build this barrel, right? And then at the end of the barrel, they want you to put this little like end cap on it, and it's not straight; it's conical. So back and then tapers, and it's a freaking pain in the trim. You know, these small pieces aren't because they're small. The problem is if you have a very small piece that has nowhere to grab it from, that you're trying to trim or sand down, there's not enough purchase on it you can get to sand it. It's just really annoying when they do things like that. But some of these Eschi models, you're like, you know, by the time you're done building it, you're like, you're welcome going to work because it's like less work than building these damn things. Not all of them, but some of them. We just kind of want an overall kind of dusting on this, and we want it to be irregular. Whether the guys, we airbrush in a hurry, or, you know, it got worn out, or, you know. My name's Yuri, and I airbrush in a hurry. And this doesn't have any washing or weathering or anything on it, okay? So I suspect there's probably a good chance that I will go and do all the stuff that I normally do, and then I will come back with a paintbrush and dry brush some more of this snow in certain areas, okay? But there's some winter whitewash things that you look at actual pictures of it and you go, even if I did this exactly how this picture is represented, it would look like ass. And it would look like people would see this and go, he just doesn't know how to paint very well. Because there's lots of whitewash stuff that just looks horrendous, you know? Any of those things that they did, the Germans did in 1941 with the chalk, it looks terrible. You know, or when they take mops and just slop the shit on there, you know, it's bad. It's bad, but it's realistic, but it's still bad. I'm not doing any of those. We need a little bit more professional than that. And yeah, so I think that's all we're going to do. We're going to leave this here. There doesn't need to be more whitewash. If there was any there, it would just get, it would have just gotten worn out by the mud. All right, we're going to do the other. Let's see, there's enough of this now, and I'm going to do a little bit more, but where there's enough of this that now I can use red numbers. I can use red lettering on here. All right, next one. And how are we doing on paint, by the way? This uses up like no paint. I'm at 15 psi, no tip dry. This liquid's fucking amazing. This liquid's amazing. Okay, so let's do the same thing with this one. Now, I'm always ripping on Eschi, but Eschi does some things right. Look at the texture on the cans on these. Let's see if you can see that. Look at the texture on these on the what the fuck are these things called? The drums. Thank you. The drums on here I didn't add those in. They already came in there. So they're all got like little dents and donks. That's how they came. I think SG bottles were probably really good for their time. The biggest problem is the fit and finish on them is not very good. The details aren't the best, but I think for their time, they probably are. Maybe they're similar to Essex, the way Essex is now. I'm not ripping on Essex, but you know, there's a lot of better figure manufacturers than Essex out there. But the Essex guys will still do the job. Dinks and donks. By the way, Ben, I did watch that video, and it's about what I thought it was going to be. But I listened to it with no sound, so maybe I didn't get the full effect. There's some people just have no shame out there. Dinks and donks. Oh, I forgot. Oh, dear. Can you imagine going to some place and encountering one of those people in one of the videos? And like, well, you can't tell them that you saw it because then, you know, you're one of those people that saw the video. And, you know, so what do you go around trying to like tease them with like, I don't know. I assumed that there was sound with the video. I didn't watch it with sound. The question is, I know how I found out about the video. The question is, how the hell did you find out about that video? the things they do in Brazil before Holy Week. Oh man. Let's see how they look together so far. Oh, there's sound. I bet there's probably smell too, but let me grab an unpainted 234. Difference in color. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these, brighten it up a little bit in certain places. We still want it to have a varied appearance like this. It was one of those classic swindles back when you had to actually download a video. Think you're getting a rip of Lord of the Rings when you get some lass with a ring stinging. Yeah, you got Rickrolled. Back in the days of, what was that thing? Napster. Napster. That's when MySpace. I never had a I didn't know about MySpace. I didn't do any of that social media stuff until 2009. I mean, I could see little specks on there, but I mean, I'm looking at this in +6, which you don't need to airbrush. It's just I wasn't going to put on my contact. We're eventually going to go to the painting room. Now, that looks pretty fucking good. For me, not an airbrush expert. Top of the morning from Northern Neighbor. Excellent. Another Jeffrey. Uh-oh. Attack of the Jeffries. All right, so let's do the same thing with this one, but a little bit different. And I'm going to go all in. I've never done this before, so I haven't seen one of these finished. I did do a 234, but it's more even coated than this. How much white paint do we have left? We have enough. We have enough to do Sue here. Sue 85. Now, there was an example in one of the box art on one of the SU-85s that had like these little lines and shit on there. I'm not going to do that just yet because it's kind of that's just kind of an exception to the rule. You don't see that very often, but that would be a goal to do at one point. We'll make the inside of the hatch white on that one. This is not visible. That's what color is inside supposed to be in the Soviet vehicles. White. I said, fuck, I already got white in my hand. Let's knock that out. That looks pretty good. I don't want it to be super heavy. I don't want these showroom like white vehicle like boom, boom, white. Now, I got a Skytrex one out here. Got one with a hatch. This is one of these things that I gotta make hatches for. They didn't give me enough hatches. Might be. Well, I'm gonna do the hatch later. I'm gonna go ahead and do this Skytrex one as well. I mean, shit, we're on a tear. We're on a tear. Yeah. Let's do this one more haphazard like. Like the Germans are coming. Oh shit. Comrade, put the paint on! Hold on, let me finish my drink. No time for drinking. I'm sorry, no time for painting. I have a fair number of T-34s left to do. That would be for winterization, and this could very well be one of them. Not as much on that one, on purpose. All right, I think we've done enough white that we need. I think. Oh, we don't have any on this front wheel? Oh, none down here, which is quite possible. We're going to muddy up the bottom of that. All right, let's take the rest of this and pour it out. Wasn't much in there. Sunrise-ish. I hate how fast time flies when I'm doing this. It's quite annoying. Maybe I should do this all day long. Not go to work and just do this. That way my work day will go quicker. Oh wait, this doesn't work. And make sure we don't have a little bit of yeah, it's pretty clean. That's pretty clean. All right. So again, let's use this the miracle stuff. I'm not going to put that much in because it goes a long way. It goes a long, long way. So I could just estimate this. This doesn't drop for whatever reason. I'm only going to put about that much of that. And I'm actually really happy. And the guy even said this. He said, I just mix it in the cup. Well, I need to be able to find it now. There's the one with the rip thing. So I just mix it in the cup. Like, well, that's great. Because I hate mixing something in another cup and then pour it in here. About 50-50 mix. And They sell airbrush flow improver in this size, whatever this is, 200 milliliters. Is that what it is? Yeah. I don't know my milliliters. And I'll be making a big batch of it if this ends up being continuing to work as well as it has. And it's not just air. It's just not. It's not just airflow improver. It's got, what is it? It's 70% airflow improver. It's 30% of the thinner, and then 10% of the retarder. I don't know that. That's 110%. This formula is 110%. All right, let's go ahead and do this. Oh. Fans work better when they're on. All right, and let's go ahead and let's dirty up the bottoms. Ooh, dirty bottom. Yep. I'm waiting for this to go sideways and not work on me. Well, it's certainly acting a little different than the last time I used it a little while ago, using exactly the same method. Man, I'm throwing the airbrush needle way back. I mean, I've got it pulled all the way back, and I mean, the PSI is pretty low. That's weird. It's hardly coming out at all. That's why I don't want to promote this as being the miracle drug, and there being like issues with it. There we go. Scientific testing underway. Make sure that's secure in there. And you got a bottom of it. It looks like it's been through some muck. mean, this isn't going to be the only weathering on there. I'm not one of those people that's going to be like, I just weather with an airbrush. Nope. We're still doing our normal stuff. That looks pretty freaking good as a starting point to do all the other stuff that we normally do. What's up, Tony? Where's Pepe? Don't touch my Pepe. It'd be absurd not to have some brownness there. I think next time I put paint in, I'll do it the opposite. I'll put the flow improver first. Then we'll put the paint in and then mix it in there. As the guy said, he mixed it in there. I'm taking his word for it. I've got 0 tip dry. So, guy knows what he's talking about. All right, and SU. Well, this photo etch that's on here actually glued okay with super glue. But it probably, oh, we're out? Well, son of a, that stinks, because I need to just do 2 drops. And then 2 drops of this. Well, you can't, you can't 2 drop this. Let's just do that. For some reason, that's like, it's coming out in like strands. Reminds me of that joke I remember for a long time ago. I don't remember very many jokes. And usually most of them are like ones I can't turn on the air. That worked better. That worked better. Just go ahead and put the lube in first. The thinner. That worked a lot better. Well, I think that looks pretty good. I mean, now we got this thing cranking. Yeah. Put the lube in first. You know, the thinner. Man, it's heavy. You used to picking up these plastic things and you pick up something that's made by Skytrek and it's like, hold on. We need a tow truck. What else we got? We got anything else with this brown? There's not a whole lot left. That's the problem with airbrushing. When it goes well, you want to keep airbrushing things. You want to keep airbrushing stuff. And this is all with the 0.35. So that's the big thing is that, well, nothing of it is so surprising at this point because I've been able to use this AK paint with a 0.35 all the time. It's the thinner. It's the primer with the 0.35. It's fucking amazing because I wasn't able to do that before. Now, let me take a look at these and see if I don't want to put more white on them. Let's do this. Let's flip this. Let's flip this around and show you guys because I can't look through the thing this way. So we're gonna flip. We're gonna flip. All right, now we'll turn this around. All right. Yeah, we got a few paints down here, don't you think? All right. And this lighting is kind of hard to discern with. And they don't have any weathering on them. You know, they don't have any of the black line or none of that stuff on there. I don't know that I'm going to try to wash any of this stuff off very much. I think the camouflage looks just fine. Let's see. Does it look better if I take this light off? Let's see. Yeah, it actually does. This getting too much kickback. That's what I call it. I don't know. I don't know real terms for things. I call it kickback. You know, we still got to paint the track and stuff like that. Do I know a lot of the history of the Tiger tanks? Well, it depends what you mean a lot. Compared to people on the street, I'm an expert. Compared to wargamers, yeah, I probably know more than most wargamers. I'm no Steven Zalaga, but, you know, I'm not a Tiger tank fan. The thing I don't like about Tiger tanks is that I'm a big fan of like units. Okay, so if Tiger tanks are in units that aren't very exciting, which in my opinion those tank battalions aren't very exciting to me, I don't I don't know a lot about that. Where are all the parts and everything? Do they collect those? I think there's only like 3 or 4 of them actually work. Well, there's one in if you don't count the fake ones, which I'm due to see a fake one in a week. I've got a tank show I'm going to that's about an hour and a half away that I found out about a couple days ago, and I'm super excited to go to with reenactment vehicles and stuff. And the German stuff is are hybrid things. But that's a fake tiger. It's not the one in Band of Brothers, and that's assuming they have it there because I went to their website and it showed what vehicles that they actually ran. But I know that the one that they have in the Tank Museum runs, and they might have one in France. And if you throw in King Tigers as well, there may be 4 that run in the world. But as much as I would like to be involved in that, I'm not a mechanic, and the problem, you know, I don't want to be inside one of those things. I just saw somebody was like video of they're like refurbishing a Vespa or something like that in Australia, and I'm like, what a rust bucket, man! You could get like some toxic chemicals or whatever, you know, doing that shit. So that's I think where we're going to stop with these things. So now part of me really wants to continue doing the whitewash. So what time is it? It's almost 8. Let's let's flip this around. Okay. Greetings. And let's do something I shouldn't be doing. Let's do something I got no business doing right now. No business because it's not part of the schedule. And this is what we're talking about. We're talking about this King Tiger from Eschi. We're going to paint this thing up. Keep your pants on, folks. And we're going to do it with winter. But we got to 3-color it first. And yeah. So, since we got all the Dunkelgelb stuff, and this is an Eschi model. So we're going to do this thing as maybe you could see one at Bulge, Battle of the Bulge, which I'm not a huge fan of Battle of the Bulge. But the problem with Tigers is that we're in these really elite formations that were flighty. It wasn't like, you know, we got these Tigers that are part of this a certain Panzer division. They got passed around, you know, like from place to place, and I'm not really a fan of that. Now, I got 2 options with doing the Dunkelgelb base. Okay? This is the base color, and there was also a base color really late in the war. They used this one. I'm going to use the original base color, Dunkelgelb, because we're going to add snow to it. And if I already do it in this color, and then add the snow to it, it may be a little too like light. May end up being, I mean, this is with the standard Dunkelgelb. This is with this as the base. So the other ones probably would be even lighter. And I mean, putting snow on this is already going to look pretty darn light. So we're going to use the Dunkelgelb with this magic formula. We're going to try to break this magic formula and see if we can get this stuff to misbehave. It hasn't happened yet. All right, so what we're going to do is, we're doing one tank. Let's guess. We're going to put the lube in first. And how much am I going to do? I'm going to do 50%. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do 3. And we're going to do 3 of this. One, 2, 3. Now I brag about AK paint being able to be airbrushed right out of the thing, and you can, and I have, but this works better. This one's already dry, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Make sure this is seated all the way forward. All right, and we're going to start off with doing a dusting of this. Okay, so we're going to dust the whole model. And like a light, really, really light. Which means there's going to be enough shadow left. The shadow painter, that's what I would call myself. The shadow painter. Sounds like I'm up to something nefarious. I just don't see any point in not using your own name. Because then you have to explain everything to everybody. Say, yeah, I have a YouTube channel. Oh, what's your YouTube channel name, Tony? Oh, it's something other. Like, you know, it's hard enough to get people to like check in your channel as it is, to come up with some snazzy names. And I'm happy to find out that you can actually find my YouTube channel relatively easy by just typing in my first name and World War II. And you can find it. You don't have to put DBA on it anymore. It's not mandatory. You're 64, and I remember as a kid they used to have an aisle to have all those models on it. Whatever happened to all the models now? I don't know. No such thing as hobby stores anymore. You're 64. Yeah, you're the age that everybody is that's a war gamer, which is about 10 years older than me. Because I was a young kid when people your age were gaming. Young whippersnappers, I was one of them. Because that's what people in their 20s would call people in their teens. Yeah, most war gamers are your age. They're a decade older than I am. Most historical war gamers. So we're going to come in and we're going to lighten these panels up a little bit more. And again, I am not an airbrush expert, okay? If this looks amazing, it's because it's a miracle. I'm a brush painter. Now, this is not a very good model of the King Tiger, but it is awesome compared to the other two King Tigers that I have, which are by Pegasus. If you have somebody in your life you don't like, recommend them to buy the Pegasus model. They deserve it for being an asshole. The Pegasus King Tiger models, I should say. Because the BT7 or T26 are just fine. That's why my neck hurt doing that. On my painting table, I've got like perfect posture. Here I'm all like curled up like Jabba the Hutt. Like Jabba the Hutt trying to eat a steak. Hello. It's a slow build up. Yeah, the Airbrush is running a lot, considering we're only running 15 PSI. What in the limpness is going on here? Let's fix this thing. There we go. This is actually a great stand, but even it has its issues. Yeah, it likes to be top heavy. Shooting at vertical is a pain in the ass, but it's not dropped down on the ground yet. Please. All right, turret time. There's like a step here. Commander to sit on here. And this guy's going to have a Panzer Commander. I might need a little bit more. We're gonna have our Hessler figure. Remember him? Everybody hates on that movie. I grew up watching it. I mean, sure, at least, you know, at least they used a larger tank for the German tanks. There's so many worse movies. At least they didn't have no hippie music playing during the movie. And you can paint some of this camouflage with a paintbrush and be like hardline camouflage. I'm just not a fan of it. You're not going to learn airbrush skills doing those. So again, this is a tank that had no extra track on the turret. It didn't come with it. I had to create that from something else. It's very hard to find a picture of a Tiger tank, of a King Tiger, without the extra tracks on the side. Very hard to find that. Let's start building up this color here. And yeah, it's going to look kind of lemon yellow. But this isn't the only color we're airbrushing. We're on fumes here. Fumes. So this is after you've got the Dunkel build, that's what you got. Okay, now let's run this out. I don't have a whole lot in here left. I mean, I have very, very little left. Like, that's it. I'm not. Let's put a little bit of cleaner. Almost could just run the other color in there, but you know, I could end up getting a mix that looks really awesome, and I can't reproduce it. This hard like brush that came with the airbrush is pretty nice. I'm going to back out this needle a little bit and close the end. And now we'll blow this all out. It's cold with the fan, but it keeps the wind from. Gives me some wind over this, so I don't feel like I need to wear a mask. Using very small amounts of paint. Okay. What else we got? What do we got here that's new? Tritarch, winter camo. Dude, it's springtime. What kind of airbrush is that? It is an Iwata HPCS. And they run about $150. And you can get them at Hobby Lobby here in the States. And if it doesn't do what you want it to do, you can return it. I mean, you got to be careful with it, whatever. That's why I got it. I'm like, I don't want to buy something and then like regret buying it. Okay, Dunkelgelb Light. Where is it? It's here somewhere. It's a lame ass looking color. Dunkelgelb Light. Actually, I'm gonna use a little boy's room. I'll be right back. Clark Kent. Well, I don't care if you're Superman. You need to fly away. Off you go then. Chirp, chirp, motherfucker. All right, Dunkelgelb base. This is the Dunkelgelb light. And why am I using Dunkelgelb light? Well, that's what they recommend in this little thing. And yes, the video's backwards, okay? But it's freaking, it looks awesome what these guys did with this. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do the Dunkelgelb light. We're going to lighten this up a little bit. And it almost looks like, Jesus, it almost looks like the color of a refrigerator from 1962. All right. So that's the thing is I'm doing all this other stuff that I shouldn't be doing, but I really am excited about this airbrush mix, the mixer with the secret ingredient. So I'm kind of putting it through the test. So after we're done with the winter camouflage on the King Tiger, if we still have oomph left in us, I'm going to prime some Soviet tanks in the black primer just to make sure, because this is a 0.35 and it's eating everything. Everything's being et. Everything is being et by this airbrush thinning stuff. And it isn't airbrush flow improver. It mostly is airbrush flow improver. But there's a mixture of different things that I found on yesterday morning on the Airbrush channel, on the Airbrush Facebook page. Now we're going to do light, so we don't need a whole lot. I'm going to use 2 drops. 1, 2, and equal parts of this AK as well. And it's a Vallejo product, and the guy said he was able to use it with everything. Now, I don't know if it'll work with craft paint. I do use craft paint, there's no reason to airbrush craft paint. I'm using so little amount of paint that I can splurge and continue using this other stuff. But it works fine with the Vallejo as thick as it is. Two drops. Uno, dos. And if I got a third one in there, it'd probably be fine. All right, and then we're going to get our little mixer. Put the thinner in first. And this is a pretty light color. I mean, this is, look, it's like General Electric lemon yellow. Isn't that the brand of refrigerators around 1962? Westinghouse, I don't know. We had a phone, we had a bunch of phones and stuff that were a green like this. You know, ugly ass fucking green. That's what we had. All right. Let's start on the suspension, always. Make sure it's already coming out. And unlike the snow, we want to highlight the panels on here. And no tip dry. Zero tip dry with this. So that's what's the miracle. Really? You're gonna fall down on me. What do we have here? Wish me luck. I just tried Microset and Microsol. I don't find Microsol very useful. This is just extra little highlighting, and it's good for trigger control. I think it's easier to practice on this than actually doing camouflage. Very little though. Of course, I could just camouflage this. I wouldn't even have to like put a camouflage pattern on it. I could just do it with the white on top of this. I actually like how the way that looks. I might actually do that. Not put camo on it. Now, let me see what this looks like. Yeah. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. What's up? Go for it. Actually, this light is good, but it freaking kills the filming of it. It's got a little bit too much kickback. So all this is the base Dunkelgelb with the light on it. You know, and I don't want it to look like a. Now let's compare this to, say, a tank that was at bulge. So I think I am gonna put a little bit of camouflage on it. I think I'm gonna do it kind of light, and then we'll do some snow over that. And of course, it doesn't have any weathering on it at all. So let's get the rest of this, even though I used like so little of it, like I don't need more. And I'm going to do kind of big spots, bigger spots. And the only reason I'm going to do that is if I do it really, really thin, the really thin ones, which I actually prefer the thin ones, is that it's probably not going to show up. Go for it, painting. That's why I should change my name of that channel to. What was it? What's the thing I like to say? You can do it. You can do it. You can do it, painting. You can do it. You just have to stay at it. You can do it. You can do it. All right. We don't need a whole lot of this. So I'm going to try 1 drop. And of course, 1 drop means 1 drop of each. This is a 50-50 mix. We are completely clean, aren't we? Yep. I think I got 2 in there. And this is olive grün option 2. I don't know what the hell option 1 is, but it didn't come in a package. Working its way out. I may actually buy an airbrush mount that is not dependent on being on the compressor, which vibrates. 1, 2. Okay. Now, I should be able to press this out. What do we drop into? 15. Let's have it drop to 12. My internet is on the fritz this morning. Is it? That's no bueno. Let's make sure we got the right color coming out. I got the tiniest of squigglies on it. That's excellent. Let's attach the turret on here. I didn't take the pegs off of this one. And I had to do I had to add like the little loops in the top of the turret. Otherwise it just doesn't look right. Oh, I killed this. Like I need it. There we go. And there we go. Let's shoot it from this side. Still not coming out? Like the same freaking color as the tank. All right, we need to change tack. What does the color on the Panther look like? Where's that Panther? What's the green on the Panther look like? Yeah, that actually looks like the olive green. All right, let's do a no-no. What the hell are you gonna do? I don't know. I'm gonna do something fucking bold and beautiful here. Here's this reflective green. Yeah, let's not do that. Let's see. Let's blow this out. What colors do we have out here? Do we have the late war German colors? That has a green that's a little bit brighter? We do. They're out here somewhere. All right, that's what we're going to do. Dark green, this one right here. This is the same stuff, so if there's anything left, well, there is. Jeez. I mean, it's hardly noticeable. Let's see, where's the spot you guys can see? Let's do it over here over the black. Yeah, it looks like fucking gray. But with this stuff, I can actually get some pretty small lines with it. Just run this all out. Watching in 144p. Oh my God, you need sainthood. You've achieved sainthood. 144p is horrible. Lasts a lot at this low PSI. I'm too lazy to go over there and change it. I'm just going to end up bringing it back down to where it was. We need a much darker color. Let's do something crazy. Ready to do something crazy? Where is North Panther? Okay, let's not even use green. What? Yep. We're just going to use chocolate brown. And then put snow over that. Lube first. Let's see if I can get away with doing one dot. there's still stuff in here. Surprised it's running so much considering I'm using 15 psi, but it's just a 3-liter tank. Doesn't look like 3 liters. Well, I'm not supposed to be hearing that sound. The first issue. So I don't want to over promote shit, and then it's like, hey, it doesn't work for me. Yeah. All right. We need to tear down. Another reason to use very little. Now, again, this is the problem with airbrushing. I would never encounter a similar problem hand painting. Exactly. Hey, be careful, it doesn't come off. Move it, it falls out. I know where it is. That's pretty clean. Let's check the needle here. It doesn't take much to create a bubble in issue. hand sanitizer is just a miracle. Okay. I mean, it worked flawlessly. Well, this thing was kind of unscrewed. I wonder if that's what it was. Oh well. Could always use it. It could always use a clean on this. No. There it is. Where is this little thing? There is a little chunk that's loose, and it's on the thread. I don't think that's what it is, but like it should be melting all that stuff, and it's not. And it's loose. I'm moving it around. I think we should be good to go. All right, let's assemble all these parts together. Let's put the needle in from the back. Nothing coming out. Coming out. Okay, good. Good spray. All right, we're in business. I think there's a water in the fridge. Yeah, there's a time where I can't airbrush, and that's coming up because the light is coming in through this window, and it's going to be like it's going to be running interference. Refresh new times back to 360, which is tolerable. I'm going to kick my router's ass. Well, South Carolina is not exactly. I mean, everything gets better every year, but we used to take trips to Historicon. The worst signal that we got on a cell phone was through South Carolina. And we weren't going through really rural places. We were just on I-75. But the worst signal was in South Carolina. And my favorite song. All right, let's try this again. None of it is a problem. It's just like if you have expectations like, I only got half an hour to get this done, don't even try airbrushing. 1, 2. I'm doing 2. Don't even start your airbrush session if you're already on the clock. Okay, shut up, brown. And I bragged about like, hey, this AK paint, you don't even have to thin it to airbrush it. Well, thinning it 50-50 is what this guy said, and so far he knows what he's talking about. Let's move this up here so we don't drop it on the ground and spend a week looking for it. Oh, shit. What's this? Control PSI. Thinner's still coming out. Thinner. What's in color here? This isn't seated now. Where is it? You don't want any paint coming down when you just press down on it. Okay. I want kind of some bigly spots. Getting a little bit of tip dry. Interesting. We need to bump the PSI up a little bit. Look at that thin line I was just able to do. And I'm a retard when it comes to airbrushing. I'm a freaking retard when it comes to airbrushing. I'm just going over it so it's a darker color. Wow. This mixture's the shit, man. This miracle stuff. I have practiced for a couple of years and just got like, man, this looks great. And the next thing I do, man, it doesn't look good at all. All right. Now it's, well, now I'm almost out. I use so little. I never would have been able to do that. Never. Never. Well, about freaking time. Now, the one thing I will say is, this will definitely lighten the color that you use. because this is like almost like a mid brown, and it just turned it into like a red, almost like a red oxide. It's got a lot of oxide, but the same thing happens with any of the other colors. Let me put my glasses on so you can see. Let me see what I've done. What have you done? I definitely turned a corner with this guy. With this guy's mixture, definitely turned a corner with this stuff. But the real test, we're still going to prime some vehicles in black. That's the amazing thing, that I can use this primer with this. It's 30% of this material, not 50-50, with the primer, and it makes all the difference in the world. And I can run it through a 0.35, which is good because my 0.5 is split. That's what happened yesterday. Those of you guys didn't tune in yesterday, I was getting ready to use that, and the edge of the front of this is split. See, where's the camera? Where the fuck's the camera? I need my glasses to see what the hell I'm showing you. And see if it's in focus. No, I don't know. I don't know where the hell. The 0.5 is split. And I'm like, fuck, I gotta buy another 0.5. And I'm like, well, let's find this through the 3.5, and it ran just fine through the 3.5, which is what comes through with the airbrush, which is good because what the hell you need a 0.5 for? The only reason I got it was because of running the clear coat and stuff through it. Oh, you motherfucker! It's back to the old ways. Just when things go, is that because we're at the end? Let's add a little bit more. We'll do one drop of each. One. And the guy even said, hey, just mix it right in there. And it works on Vallejo paint. It works on everything. Let's do some on the barrel, and then we're ready to go to move to the white. Oh, we have one that ended there. Well, that's no good. Let's tie that in with because I'm using such little amount of paint. Let's get rid of, I don't think we're going to do green on it. I don't think we're going to do green on it. So let's get all this stuff out. Look of Jan. Just experimenting with this this miracle mixture this guy recommended to mix the airbrush paint with, and it seems to be working okay. Spray on something white. nearly clear. So make our own airbrush cleaner, or make our own thinner. Now, let's get that washable white paint. I actually don't give a shit that it's washable. That's pretty much irrelevant to me. And we're going to go really thin with this. We're not going heavy with this at all. I fucked up. Not really a fuck up, but I think it works better to put this in first. So we did 1, 2, and then we'll go back and add another 1 of the white. (50-50) mix. And that's with paint that I would consider airbrush ready right off the go. Good morning, folks. Happy Sunday. Unless you have to work on Sunday, because you don't work all week. That's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to get any paint out when you're just pressing down on it. Can we deal with it? Yeah, I think we can. All right, here we go. This paint is so light that if I had to repaint something, it's not the end of the world. And we're still kind of learning. So this tiger showed up like this. It was all worn. And they're like, hey, we want you to take part in Battle of the Bulge. Oh, shit, it's covered in snow. We need some camouflage. Okay, here we go. too much there. It almost doesn't look like it even has snow camouflage. Huh? What do you mean about that, Wes? What it looks like. So we need to go a little heavier than that. I don't miss working on Sundays. Well, if I had a day off, I certainly wouldn't pick it to be Sunday, but you need to have 2 days off in a row. It wouldn't be Monday, Tuesday like a certain somebody. That's fucking stupid. All right. So let's compare color-wise what it looks like, one that has snow and one has not. So I think I'm just going to do more of what I've got on here. Sometimes it covers over the camouflage, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, we don't have any weathering on this yet. I mean, that's another thing to consider. I think that's where we're going to stop. I think that's where we're going to stop. Now, let's go ahead and rinse this shit out. And we can bring this we can take this popsicle stand inside. Let's bump this pressure way the hell up. We can blow all this crap out. Video quality is not good. Well, I'm not doing anything on my end. Sorry. Don't watch. I don't do anything different any other time. There's a lot of environmental factors that I can't control. That's why the video that I'm going to shoot next weekend outside, I'm not going to do it on the mobile. I'm just going to record it on the phone, and then we will make a proper video of it later. Go ahead and take this apart. I do the same thing every day that I film, and sometimes it looks great, and sometimes it looks not so great. And I can't let it bother me because there's nothing I can do about it. The people that are really good at videos, they don't know how to fucking paint. Okay. Let's put that up here. All right, now we got to figure out what is it we're going to bring inside. Oh shit, I'm not done. I need to seal the pins with 38s. We'll do that another day. And the reason I don't want to do that right now is I got the sun that's coming in through this light, which is great, but I'm like fighting against it. There's like this time period between like now and another hour and a half that's difficult to be in this spot. Trying to work on something here when you're looking into the sun. So, all right. So what are we going to need to bring? We're going to need to bring this stuff on here, and we're going to go ahead and shut this video down, and we'll start up a new one inside. See you in a little bit, folks.